Great. Good morning.
It's start of the 10.
Great. Good morning. My name's Giles Mahoney. I'm gathered here today with Steve.
Hi, good morning.
And Nikki. And we're looking forward to spending the next 20 minutes with you if you're dialing in from home or watching this in the week. Really great to have you with us. And we're talking today, Steve, about a few things because we just started off a new series, haven't we, as the year starts. Do you want to just give us a bit of a headline of that, what that is?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the new series follows three themes, which is friendship, formation, and fruitfulness. And today, actually, we're going to be focusing more on the formation bit of how we are shaped in God's hands as we seek to follow him. And so we're going to be pulling that theme out a little bit later on.
Great. And that's you're preaching at the service at 10:30, aren't you? Later.
Absolutely.
So we're just doing a little intro bit to it today. And Nikki, you've got a few people hopefully joining us online.
Yeah, so far we've got, it looks like we've got somebody from Russia online, but my Russian is a little bit past that, so I can't say what they're saying. I'm sure they're saying morning. And we've got Peter Bottomley as well, and Lauren as well. So, yeah, we've got some people joining us already.
That's great. So, Steve, you posed we usually pose a question at this point in the morning. So what's the question that you want to pose to us to think about? And then those of you online, feel free to feed that back to Nikki and she'll feed it in.
Okay, so the question is, when did you last laugh? I mean, really from your heart, when did you last have a really good laugh? And shall I kick off?
Yeah, go for it. Tell us your story.
It was actually fairly recently when I went out for a meal with my wife, Sarah. We were at the Duke of Wellington in Horsley, and we'd had our meal, and then we went to sit by the fire to have coffee. There's a lovely open fire, but the fire was kind of dying down a bit. So I was saying to Sarah, just, lob another log on the fire, will you? And she said, I can't do that. I said, no, go on, just lob one on. And she reached down and she literally lobbed this log onto the fire, and it went thump like that onto the kind of
embers.
The embers,
yeah.
and the flames began. But there was something about the way she did it, the way this log landed, that really tickled me. And I did not stop laughing for about 20 minutes. I just couldn't, and now, you know how it is when you get into that kind of mirth, that, that's an old-fashioned word, isn't it?
Mirth. Ooh, what's the Russian translation of that?
Mirth.
But I couldn't stop laughing. Everything started to be funny.
Yeah.
Everyone were looking at me, and I was literally laughing out loud for about 20 minutes. I had to go out. I had to leave the room.
That's so funny.
So that was my reason. It was something very releasing about it. Actually, really, I don't know, something broke inside me. Wonderful.
That sounds great. And Nikki, have you got a story?
I mean, I've got a lot of stories.
Well,
Some involve Steve over the years, to be fair, where we have just laughed and cried. But for me, yesterday, I met with two friends that I haven't seen we haven't been as a threesome for maybe 14 years, but I've seen each of them separately, and one of them is 50 next weekend, so we met up yesterday for an afternoon tea, and it was just so lovely to remember things, and it was proper belly laughing, and that kind of just releasing, like you say, that just brings you joy that you haven't experienced for a while. So yeah, that was Mum and old friends.
That's great. Well, my story's about just for Christmas, actually. Chloe and I, my daughter, who's 10, she likes dancing, and she said, Daddy, you've got to help me do this dance. So we decided to recruit Gary the Gnome, who's the Christmas gnome. Nikki, I think you've met Gary the Gnome, who's a Christmas gnome, and we put him in the back, and then we started to do this dance thing, like a TikTok style thing. And the world isn't quite ready for my dancing. We thought
ready for it.
It would blow up if we published it, so we haven't put it on any channels, but it is there, ready to go when the Reddit world is ready. But we were just laughing and laughing and having like you say, belly laugh about things. So if you've got stuff like that,
Absolutely, let us know.
stories of when you've just had that moment of laughter and joy at the moment, then do just feed those through. Be really great to hear your stories. Brilliant. So we're going to turn and do a song now, and I think, Harry, you've got one lined up. Do you want to tell us why you've picked it and then take us in?
I really love this song because it's a declaration that you're ready to give everything to God, and when you surrender everything to Him, He becomes yours and you become His. And I just love that kind of personal relationship. So this is Here I Am to Worship.
Oh, light of the world, you step down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see the beauty that made this heart adore you. Hope of a life spent with you. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. The King of all days, oh so highly exalted. Lord, yes, in heaven above. Humbly you came to the earth, you created. Oh, for love's sake became poor. Oh, so here I am to worship, here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. And I'll never know how much it costs to see my sin upon that cross. And I'll never know how much it costs to see my sin upon that cross. And I'll never know how much it costs to see my sin upon that cross. And I'll never know how much it costs to see my sin upon that cross. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful
Great. Oh, Harry and Van, that was brilliant. You guys have a real gift, actually. That was brilliant. Really, really brilliant song. So thank you for playing that for us. So we're going to just check in online, see if there's any feedback about laughter or joy.
A lot of laughter out
it.
there today. Dawn has said that her children now understand Big Fish, Little Fish. They were dancing around the kitchen last night, which was obviously fun. Matt, my husband Matt, his hamster makes him laugh. I bought him a hamster for Christmas.
The name of?
His name's Murphy. Hello, Murphy. And that makes me laugh, watching him with the hamster, because that's amazing. Phil has said that Michael McIntyre videos, one about going to the dentist, and then someone else has said the way he skips. So it's definitely something about people that make people laugh. Peter has said that his granddaughter's dancing around brings him laughter. And then Lauren has said that going for a walk with her friend Nikki always results in laughter. And that experiences joy and fun. And that'll be me. So yeah, a lot of laughter out there this morning. It's lovely to hear.
Brilliant. Well, if you've just joined us, feed in your thoughts and stuff, because we'll have a moment to have a look at those again in a minute. So Steve, you're going to just give us a bit of a high five.
Yeah.
So go for it about what you're going to talk about later.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah. So Nikki, I was just thinking that the word you were looking for earlier was здравствуйте, wasn't it?
No, that means please. It's shush.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's a bit
to
Russian.
the person on here.
Yes.
Yes. Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте.
As I
Yeah.
speak
Yes.
Russian, because I know a little bit of Russian,
Excellent.
but I'm remembering a time when you found something very, very funny, was when I came out of
Of a lift.
out of a lift. I went in the direction I thought was the right direction to go, down some steps.
You were in Russia.
I was in Russia.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes, I was in Russia and,
Yes.
and fell down some steps.
Yes. No, yeah. Well, you didn't fall the steps. There was a plinth before the steps, because they don't have health and safety quite so much in Siberia. And Steve didn't just fall down the steps. He fell down quite a
It
gap.
was extremely painful, but what I remember was that you were doubled over laughing.
Yeah.
You couldn't contain it, could you?
There was half of me thinking Steve might have just died,
Yeah.
and that's probably quite serious, and the other half thinking this might be quite funny. So
Yeah. So that really has nothing to
Great.
do with
Well,
Yeah.
thank
high
you
five.
for sharing.
And
Yeah.
I probably just used a couple of minutes on
Yeah.
a little
No.
bit of trivia.
It's fine.
This morning, we're going to be thinking about how this book shapes our lives. That sound good? Okay, so we've got these three themes of friendship and formation and fruitfulness. Today, very much thinking about formation, about how when we open this Bible the right way up, how it shapes us. I've recently been getting up nice and early to take my nourishment early, a 3-course breakfast made up of a psalm, that's a song from the Bible, an Old Testament story, and a New Testament story. And do you know what? I've got the giggles, and this may not go well. So the way those three things combine for me in the morning is becoming something quite amazing. Now, this morning, when I preach my sermon, I'm going to take everyone on a little bit of a journey into 4 scenes in the Bible where we see how when the scriptures are open, when the stories of God are opened, they really begin to shape the lives of God's people. And for me, this is a really important subject because it is. And that's all I'm going to say right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing more. We have a clock up here, which helps us to know what's going on, and it's just stopped. And I think that's just quite interesting that sometimes time just stops.
Yes.
And it's
We have 4 minutes.
So we still have 4 minutes to hear more stories, but I like what you're saying. I think what I'm learning to do, Steve, at the moment as I go into 2022 is to get a bit of practice in my spirituality and in my seeking God and His presence each day. So, like you were saying about your breakfast, where you
Yes.
take a psalm, another bit from the Old Testament. That's the bit before Jesus came, and then the New Testament story is all about Jesus and
Yes.
what happened to the church after that, didn't it?
Yes.
So it's understanding what God said through His Word, and then really applying that to the day ahead. And I think that's been a new practice for me. I've been struggling with it for years, but I've been trying really hard this year to start the year with that.
Yeah, it was kind of years and years ago that people put together something called the Common Lectionary, which gives a set of readings from the Bible for every day of the year. And on Sunday, you get 4 courses rather than 3.
Okay.
And there's really some genius at work in the way these things are brought together.
Yeah.
And I found just of late that that's been just the best way to start the day. To kind of, as in literally like breakfast, like nourishment in the morning.
Yeah, that's great. And what prompted you, Steve, to think about the laughter and why to focus on joy and laughter? Because the world's a bit complicated at the moment, isn't it? There's a lot going on for a lot of people, which are quite difficult things.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Interestingly, one of the scenes that I'm going to look at today as we open the Bible together is there's a crowd of people all listening to somebody reading from the Bible for about 4 hours.
Okay. Wow, long time then.
From sunset until midday, that's more than 4 hours, isn't it? Ezra the priest reads, and it says that as he read, they began to weep, began to cry. So actually, the starter question was going to be, what's recently brought you to tears?
Yeah, we
but
debated
Nikki
that, didn't we?
texted me, said, I'm not sure that's the
enough
best
out
question
there.
to start the day with.
There's a lot of things.
But what is interesting is that the people are weeping, and the sense is they're weeping because what they're hearing is really going to their hearts.
Yeah.
And they're recognizing that they're not living what they're hearing. But what's really interesting is at the end of the story, the priest says to the people, stop crying. This is not a day to cry. This is a day to rejoice. Now go and get yourself something to eat and make sure nobody goes without. Let's celebrate, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. And there's this amazing transition from weeping into joy, which happens in this story. And so that's kind of where I got the inspiration for that story
great.
from.
And Nikki, what do you think about these sort of practices each day? And
I mean, I have a rule that I have to have joy every single day. So I won't go to bed until I've found joy in that day somehow.
Amazing.
That often involves laughing. And like Steve, when I start to laugh, and often involves Steve, when I start to laugh, it will, end up crying. But yeah, I think that I get up early as well, 5 o'clock every morning, spiritual practice and all of that. So for me, I just think it's a really important part of life because there's so much out there that's difficult and complicated and awful, and so laughing's important.
yeah. I know a number of friends who don't follow Jesus, but they're seeking after something bigger than themselves, and they often will just have a moment to meditate. And it's amazing when they say that they find a joy, which is what I find when I slow down and talk to Jesus, talk to God. A joy comes up inside me,
Absolutely.
like a bubbling up.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a bit of a meditation later, actually, in the main service. So that's great. Any final thoughts from the online community?
Yeah,
Paul?
just really quickly. Harry has said that he felt joy and laughter when he came back from Brazil and he saw his friends. Liz Featherstone has said she's met up with people that all had babies at a similar time, and that kind of joint fun and laughter is fantastic. Matt said that laughter's contagious, as often happens. You don't really know why you're laughing at the end of it, do you? And everyone's laughing, and he says you don't have to self-isolate when you catch it, which is quite.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll wrap up there. I have got a very funny story about a funeral and giggles, but I won't tell that story now, maybe quietly another time. But we just wanted to say a really warm welcome to you for coming and joining. If you would like some of our service that starts at 10:30, and if you're heading down here, do come along. And if you can't make it in person, we'll be on YouTube at 11. Steve, you'll be preaching, and that will be broadcast. And if you're want to join the whole service from home, then join on Zoom, and details of that came out on Friday. So feel free to join us then. And thank you both for kicking off a really great Sunday morning. Have a fantastic day, all of you. Bye.
Yeah, goodbye.